Okay. Hi, I'm Barbara Lockwood, the Calabasas City Librarian, and welcome to the third in a series of our Spring into Creativity programs, and our second with SP Harper. We are funded, these programs are funded by a grant, an LSTA grant, which is Library Services and Technology Grant through the California State Library. And they pay for the instructors and all the materials. And these programs will continue through May. The schedules will be up each month on the calendar on our website, and you could sign up through that. And, you know, besides these programs, we have online book clubs, we have a Film Fanatics program for grade school children. We have Study Buddies tutoring by high school kids. Each week we have story times with Miss Jill and Miss Sky, and just a lot of things. So you can look on our website if you need further information. So after this program, maybe right after or the next day, I'll send you a survey online. If you could please fill that out. That's a state requirement. That's appreciated. I also put a paper survey in each of your bags, and if that's easier, you can do that. So thank you for attending, and I'm going to turn it over to SP, who did such a fabulous job last week. And so SP, let's get on with our oil pastel class. Thank you.
Yay, artists. Thanks for coming. I am SP Harper, and I am an eco-centric artist. I paint on recycled surfaces, and you can see my image that I like to go to for my still life are gems. You can see recycled painting in the background, and these are milk crates. This is the kind of thing that I do. Today we're going to do oil pastels. Last week, how I structured it was 2 parts. This is going to be 2 parts as well. Last week, we did watercolor, and we did a sphere, and we learned how to do shadow. And to remind you, this is what we did. We did a ball to learn how to do 3-dimension. And the second part of the class, we did an actual still life, which was an apple, which is also a sphere for a lesson with shadow. So this time, with the oil pastels, we are going to do a cube, or 4-sided, not a sphere. And just to give you an idea, I'm going to draw a cube, and we're going to put shadows on it, and I'll do that with you. I will draw it, and you will follow me. I will draw it on here with this Sharpie, but you guys should use your pencil. So the materials you should have are a paper, 2 pieces. You should have a pencil, but I'm using a Sharpie. And you should also have a little oil pastel set. There's another, you might want to, I also will be using a ruler. You don't have to have a ruler, but I might show you how to use this. So this probably wasn't in the materials list, but if you have one, you might want to get it. Okay, now for the second part, after we do the cube and we learn how to do shadows and also learn how to use the oil pastels, we're going to make a still life, and of course we're going to mimic the cube. So we're going to do a book. So here's okay. Last time we did the sphere, and this is a little sketch, and this time the lesson is going to be a cube. Okay, so once we do that cube, when we understand shadow and perspective, we are going to do a book. So you don't have to go and get it right now, but between now and when we start to do the second part of the class, you probably want to go and get a book to look at. It's always nice to have a still life. Here's an idea. It's a box, but it's a book. Here's another idea. These are drawings that I did, but we're going to do them in oil pastels. Anyway, just to be thinking about, like, I like this book because it has this really beautiful script on it. Whatever book you pick, make sure it's thick. So it's nice to look at a real one. You don't have to, but I'm just putting it out there. Here's another book that I would like to do, just because it's real thick. Okay, so first let's do the cube lesson. Okay, we're going to do a little perspective. You're going to get perspective on this one too. You're going to get this big academic education today. All right, so here we're doing landscape. This is called portrait. We're going to do it in landscape. Your paper, do it this way. So you're going to draw the vanishing point, the horizon line at the top, towards the top of the paper. So everyone do this, but do it in pencil. And if you want to use a ruler, you can. I'm not using one, but you can if you want. Okay, once you do that, we're going to put the first line of your cube, and it is going to be off center to the left. This is in pencil now. This is called the horizon line. Then we're going to put some vanishing points on the outsides here. This is like a quickie lesson in perspective. Okay, and then with those lines, and if you want to use your ruler, you can. You want to attach a line from this vanishing point to your cube. And this is in pencil, remember. I'll do it to show you. So those are the two sides of your box. I'm going to proceed. If I'm going too fast, slow down. You can slow me down in the chat or put your hand up or something. Although I don't know if I can see you, but just let me know if I need to change anything here. All right. So the top part, you're going to put the sides of the box, and these two. Okay. This is a vertical line. It lines up with the sides of the paper. It's straight. It's completely vertical. The sides of the boxes are going to be vertical as well. And then you're going to join them in the back. See, I went to my vanishing point and I drew it to this line and this one vanishing point to the side of the box. So there's your box. But yours is in pencil. So when you're finished with this, you're going to erase these pencil lines back here for the final. Okay, once you do this, let's get out our pastels and start to shade them in. Let's do it with one color. We're not going to do switching colors right now. We're just going to do the lesson in one color. Let's think here. Maybe I'm going to use blue. But you just pick whatever color you want. Okay, just like the sphere, the light source comes from one side. It comes from the upper left-hand side. Here's the light source. The good guys come from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So that means the sun, the light's over here. So that means this is going to be the bright side because it's on the sun side, and this is going to be the shadow side on this side over here. Last time I was drawing it in reverse because it's reversed for me when I do it this way. So I goofed it up and I goofed my sphere up, but I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to look down and do it and then show you. All right. Here we go. Now I'm going to get my blue. These are the light sides, so just leave these white right now. But you're going to shade this whole side with the pastel. It kind of feels like a crayon. That's the shaded side. Okay, then the top, is the lightest one, and the side one is going to be the second darkest one. And you can shade it towards the bottom, even darker. And it all, whatever happens, it gets lighter as you move up. I'm doing a second layer on this one down here. And now I'm going to do this one a little bit lighter. And the top is going to be really light, very, very light. Now it kind of feels like a crayon, and maybe you want to leave it like that. This could be a finished, except let's put a shadow on it. Let's do the shadow first. So the shadow is going to be this shape that you've done right here, which is a box, but it's at an angle. So you're going to put in like a little rectangle here. That's the shadow. You can make it long or short, whatever you want. You can use your imagination on the shadow. The shadow we're going to do in black. Or something, you know, dark brown, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to color that in. The reason you put a shadow here is it anchors your still life, your box, to the ground. Otherwise it's floating, which you might want to have a floating. It could be like a square planet. It could be floating, but right now it's sitting on the ground. It's very solid. These are rules for still life forever and ever. If you get this, you're an expert and advanced. Okay, now pastel. This is up to you what you want the feel to be at the end. I sort of like my Crayola feeling, but if you don't like that, you want to get like your finger, or you can put a tissue over your finger, but basically, oh, I think I'm going to get, okay, here's another tool. I'm just going to show it to you. You can get a pencil. This is called a punk, and it's a blending tool. It's very sophisticated. You don't have to have this, but you can see that it's made out of felt, but you're going to blend it. You can use a pencil. You can use your finger. You can put a tissue over the pencil, which I'm going to get a tissue right now. For some reason, I forgot my tissue. Okay. And you can blend it to your heart's content. It's really up to you what the finish you want it to be, if you want it to be smooth or if you want it to have some tooth to it. I'm blending this right now. If you ever try chalk pastels, they blend even quicker or easier. It's just becoming like a smooth blue. And this is becoming a black, smooth black. So you can keep on working on that as long, and then you can work back into it with the color. As you know, you can spend many hours on this to get it exactly how you want it. Now, this pencil line that's in your, the closest one to you, which is right here, this is the closest one to you. You want to make that really dark, as dark as you can, because it's in the foreground. It's the darkest, heaviest, thickest line, because you see it first. So I'm going to go over it with this, but yours is pencil, so it'll be easier. See how the three-dimensional box is, it is actually standing off the page now. It's becoming three-dimensional. We can start doing our still life whenever you guys want, but you should get a book to look at. Is everyone okay with this? Should I slow down or should I go ahead, everybody? You can wave if we can move ahead. Yes, okay, there, we can move ahead. Okay. Next. I just got this magazine this morning. So we did the sphere last week and we're doing the box today. Well, you can combine whatever you're doing. For instance, look at this cake. That is our sphere mixed with the box in 3 dimensions. I just wanted to show this to you. Okay, if you don't have a book to look at, you can, make it up out of your imagination, just like we did the box. But it would be nice if you had a book. Here's mine. Okay, I'm going to set it, I have a shelf right here. I'm going to set it in front of me at a slight angle so I can, just like the box. It's not straight onto you, it's sort of at an angle. So you see at least 3 sides. Let's see, from this angle, I'm going to look at it like this. I'm going to put it in front of me though, but I'm going to look. So I kind of want to see the spine. I think that's interesting. You can do it this way if you want, but I kind of like to see the spine, and I like to see some of the pages, and I like to see the top. Now, if you're more interested in illustrating what the book is, the title of the book, you probably want to be more of an angle like this because you can read it a lot easier. Just like the perspective moving up and down from the horizon line. Okay, this horizon line would be way off in the sky because you're looking down on it. If you're going to look at it like a side, this is exactly what we did with the horizon line straight back here, which is closer down because this is called, you're getting to worm's eye view, which is you're on the same level as a worm seeing the product like this. It's called worm's eye view. And if you're like this looking down on the product, that's called bird's eye view because you're flying over it and you're seeing it from above. So there's a lot of different choices and a lot of ways to set your still lifes up on what you want to see and what you want to emphasize. That's what's most important. I'm going to do mine kind of halvesies. I'm going to kind of end up doing it something like that. Okay, are you guys ready to start your next thing here? Also, you could if you don't have a thick book or you're not happy, if you want it to be thicker, you can stack 2 books on top of each other. That's another way to look at it. Okay, now I gave you this super academic lesson on how to do a box. As artists become comfortable with these lessons and understanding the geometry, you don't really need to do this hardcore perspective drawing. It can be looser. You can use what you've learned by doing this drawing, but use it out of your imagination and out of your head. And when you do your drawing, it will have a little bit, it might be a little, I call it wonky, but it gives it personality and it makes it more yours. So if you want to be academic, you can do the book exactly like we did here, or you can use what you learn from this lesson and do it freehand. And I think I'm going to try that. Here's these two again to show you. There's two different ways to look at it. This is almost worm's eye view, where you're very low to the book. And this is bird's eye view, where you look down on the book. Decide what's more important, the book or the title. Okay, again, like everything we do, everything, watercolor, pastel, whatever medium is, do a pencil sketch first. You can't make a mistake. You know, you can erase and you can go over it and you can keep on refining it till you like the drawing before you start with the pastels. The pastels, you really can't erase them. You can draw over them. For instance, like if I'm saying, oh gosh, that's too dark blue. Oh my gosh, you can't really erase it, but you can fix it with other pastels over it. You can do many layers. Like I'm gonna lighten this just to show you how the pastels are used. This one has a really lovely light blue, which I can use and work into the dark blue if I want to lighten a certain area. Also, each layer that you do with the pastels, it's going to fill it in more, so it will have less of that crayon look. It'll be smoother. So the process of coloring over and over, many layers, and smushing, mixing, smoothing with a tissue or a punk, that'll make it, you know, a solid blue, or, you know, you can make it as finely detailed as you want. Okay, so this is, oh, it's a little bit dark, so I'm going to lighten this up. This is like a little lesson here. See, it used to be a dark blue, now it's lightening up, and also it's getting smoother because I'm working two colors together. It looks like a plastic. It looks, you know, more finished. Now, we haven't really explored different colors. I just said pick one color, blue. But I am exploring in colors. I use blue to start the first layer, and then I decided, oh, it might be a little dark. So I went to a similar color. It's a light blue. It's in the same family. So, you know, keep in that same family, but now there's a whole nother world in this box right here that you can add. But usually light colors like the yellows, oranges, and reds, they would be on the sunny side of your drawing, on this side, because the light source is coming here. It's going to be lighter, the bright colors. And then the shadow side is going to have blues, greens, the darker sides of the palette. So I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to have a little fun here. I'm going to get some yellow out here and put it, the lightest part of my box is on the top. So I'm going to get the yellow and I'm going to go over it. And then once I go over it, I can also smooth it. I'm not going to, though. I like a texture in mine. There's, see the top, it's has a highlight. It's sun-kissed. Okay, this one is the medium tone. This is the brightest, second darkest, very dark. So this one, let's see. Let's do orange. I'm going to put some orange in this one because it's the second darkest one.
XP, Lorraine's
Yeah.
asking, should the shadow lines generate from the vanishing points too? How does that work? Have you already answered that?
Yes, they can, but I didn't want to get so strictly academic that might get a little over. But yes, it can. I'll show you how to do. You don't have to. I just made this shadow up. What I did was, in my mind, I took that box and I put it at an angle. So that's why I came up with this rectangle. But yeah, I can show you. Let's see here. it gets to be really, I mean, then it's like we're doing math instead of art. Okay, but look, I'm going to show you. Okay, again, horizon line. We're not quite at a bird's eye view, and we're not at a worm's eye view. We're just like at a human. We're looking slightly down on it. Yeah, okay, so for your shadow, it can go to the horizon line and then come down here to the side of the product or the box down here. And then you make another vanishing point wherever you want. You know, this vanishing point is determined by where the sun is. So if the sun comes down here, then your vanishing point is here. So it's more at more of an extreme angle. There's no rule. You can put this wherever you want because that'll tell us where the sun is. But you can see how this line lines with this one. Again, that's very academic, and we don't want to, we want it to be fun. But I wanted you to understand this. So when you're drawing things, you have a basic understanding, and you can bring your 3D drawings to life using these lessons. But good question. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, color. All right, so, oh yeah, I was gonna do orange. Orange I put orange on the second color side. See, it's orange, so this is the brightest, second brightest. Now this is the darkest, so you know what I'm gonna get? What's my darkest color in this box? Ooh, black. I don't know if I wanna do black. I think maybe brown. I could do black. I'm gonna make it darker brown on the side. And every layer that you do with these pastels, it makes it richer and it gives you, you know, a lot of dimension, and there's a lot of layers of the paint that it's sort of like a Richard Diebenkorn painting where there's a lot of different layers, which makes it extremely rich. And that's how you keep on overlaying pastels and smoothing. Okay, so here's even darker, see? So I use brown. So you get the concept, but with colors. First you did it with shading, darkest, medium, lightest, and now it's colors, dark brown, orange, yellow. Same concept. Now we want to do the book. I'm going to do mine without, you can do these lines if you want, but you don't have to. I'm going to do mine just out of my head. But I'm looking at my book. Here's my book. I'm going to look at it sort of like that. So if I was to have a horizon line on this, it would be right up here. And the vanishing points would be here, here. Okay, so I'm going to just try to, first in pencil, I'll do it on Sharpie so you can see it on the Zoom. As I do it, I'll show you. And there's no making any mistakes with this. And this still life, if it ends up being funny or not right, or the perspective, you know, that makes it really interesting. It makes it very painterly and very artistic. Okay. Here's my new piece of paper, and I'm going to look at this book right now. Okay. And again, do it in pencil first. basically that's my book, except it's, you know, a rectangle. That's how I'm going to look at it. Once you get your pencil sketch in there, with the pencil still, put details of the book in here. For instance, if it's, for me, this is the spine. That's the spine. These are pages right here, and this is the top of the book. So now I'm going to, with my pencil, I'm going to sketch in some of those details. All right, I'll kind of do it for you here. Okay, these are the pages. So this is this part. Remember? And these are pages. Yours is in pencil. And the spine of the book usually is a slightly bowed. It's not a strict hard edged box like that's hard edged box where it kind of bows. See how it kind of bows out your book? Okay, and I see some interesting copy. I don't think I'm going to have to read it here, but I want to indicate some of the little details here. Mine has some gold leaf there. Ooh, some gold leaf here. It has a little maroon box in there. You want to sketch in all the little details that are in the book that are interesting to you, that you want to show. You're the editor in this creation here. If you want none of the type, just a solid canvas book, that's fine too. You can put as much detail as you want. Here's an idea: is if you put, you can start out with pencil detail here, and then as we work in the pastel, you can work it in, and you might lose all this detail. You may say, oh, this is too busy, and you know, it's too busy. It's like for an ink drawing. This is pastel, it's color. So then you can start coloring over this whole thing. All right, now the top I can see mine has this like a black stripe of leather. Also, the cover and the bottom and the top cover, you want to give that a little depth. For me, the pages are gold, and this leather part right here is dark black. And this part is maroon. But, you know, before you start doing that, let's get your pencil sketch done. So I don't think I'm going to end up seeing this, but I'm still going to put it down. It says William Shakespeare. As we know, William Shakespeare is actually the 17th Earl of Oxford, who's Edward de Vere. That is Shakespeare, not Shakespeare. You can tell I'm an Oxfordian. Little detail there. All right, William Shakespeare, I'm going to put that right here. There's some little details here. There's some like curly, squirrely cues here. So there's my pencil sketch, and then when you get everything on there that you're interested in exploring in a drawing with pastels, then you can start with the pastels. Yours is pencil, not this ink though. I'm going to use the pastel on this ink so you can see what's happening. If you were to do the perspective, It still follows those same rules, just so you have an understanding, but you don't have to do this. See, it's just what we did. Anything that's a rectangle or that's 3D, it's the same concept. The sphere is not this concept. That's different. But the sphere, the shadow is the same as working with a rectangle. All right, so I feel confident with my drawing. That's all I want to do on my drawing. So I'm going to get out my pastels and have some fun. And you can use your imagination on this. Like, here's my book. I'm going to try to emulate the colors, but then I could have a lot of fun and make it like pink and green, you know? Since you know what you're doing with shadow and 3-dimension, you can change the colors if you want. You are the creator of this. I am going to try to follow this. One more thing that we need to do is, of course, unless you want the book floating in space, you want to put a shadow on under the book. Shadows are there aren't hard, fast rules with it. They can be big ones, little ones, but it should be follow whatever the shape this is, but at an angle. So here we go. It's a rectangle. There it is. I made it like a little shadow, and that's going to be dark. Also, your shadow, I'll show you when we do the pastels right now. Your shadow doesn't have to be hard edged like this one. It can be soft. I'll show you a soft shadow. Okay, I'm going to start with my colors. Okay, so also keep in mind that the light source is from up here. So the top of the book and this side of the book and this is going to be lighter than this. Now that is going to cause a problem because probably your book has white pages. So they're white, but they're in shadow. So you're going to make them like a light gray. Mine's gold. That's going to be maybe confusing, but here's mine. So the gold on my drawing, the gold part is in the shadow area, but it's lighter than my black leather. So I'm going to color this black leather in, but I can't make this white or gold because it's in shadow. So it's going to have a tint. I'll show you. Okay. The leather of my book is kind of a maroon or sort of a deep red. So I'm going to start with my pure red, my bright color, because we're doing the top of the book. So I'm going to do the top of the book in bright red with my pastel. Now the side of the book, it's maroon, but it's more of a deeper black. But I'm going to do the first. Remember, layers are the secret to have beautiful pastel drawings. You have many layers of colors on top of each other are just going to make it, you know, luscious. So I'm going to go ahead and add the red to the area that's actually black in the end. But it's going to give me another layer. another color layer, which is going to show through and make it really beautiful to look at. Now, this part, remember, this is the brightest area at the top. The second brightest area is on the side, and the darkest area is where the pages are. So 1, 2. So I'm going to darken the side with another layer. Can you see what I'm doing? Okay. Also, the book jacket right here, I'm going to do that little jacket on the side. And the bottom jacket. See? Okay. I'm going to add a little bit more red here. And because the sun is coming from up here, everything away from the sun is going to have more color. It's going to be darker down here, down here. Maybe I could go like this. Yeah, that's right. Here we go. Okay, it's looking better. Okay, I am going to get my shadow. Well, I can do the shadow and I can do my book pages probably at the same time. These are in shadow, but they're gold. So you know what? Because they're gold, I think I'm going to start with the yellow. Okay, because remember, many layers, and it doesn't matter which layer goes first. Black can be first or yellow can be first. It doesn't matter. You can mix up your layers. This medium is extremely forgiving. You can't make a mistake. You just keep on working into and over it. The watercolors, remember, once you make a line, it's hard to erase them. And you have to leave the whites and watercolor as your highlights, where this is different. We have white. So to add highlights, you can put whites on top of here. So this you can keep on working on to your heart's content. There's no really time. You have to decide as the artist when it's finished, but there's no rule. You can keep on working with pastels indefinitely. Many, many layers. Okay, so it's gold. So look, I made it yellow because they're gold pages, but they're not in shadow is my problem with this right now. So I'm going to get some of this black. You know what? Shadow, I'm thinking colors. Maybe, you know, the Impressionists, they never use black. So I'm going to use black, I think, for my shadow. But for this part of the shadow in the book, I'm going to use blue. Because it's always nice to, again, remember, all the shadow colors are blue, green, and black. It's nice to have a color instead of just black. It just makes it more interesting. Also, you start to mix these colors, like I'm putting blue over the yellow. It might end up being this gold, kind of a greenish, like gold tint, which is exactly what I'm looking at. So it's really fun to try different things and lay colors over each other and then blend them together. The bottom is going to be darker than the top. Darker here, lighter here, darker here, lighter here. Okay, now I'm gonna do the shadow. I'm gonna do the shadow that's soft to show you a different kind. Okay, so it's darkest right next to right next to where the book is sitting on the ground. It's the darkest. You have your pencil sketch of what the shape of the shadow is that you came up with because you decided where the sun is. So you make this shape whatever you want. Anyway, but you don't want hard edges. You probably want to erase your guidelines and then you want to feather this out. So you press hard and then press less hard as you move out. See how I'm doing it? I'm making little circles because it blends easier that way. And here is my blending tool, Kleenex. And I'm just blending, I'm blending this out to the white paper. If you're doing a full still life, you want to probably color in the background, whatever the table is. You know, you blend the shadow into, like if it's brown or something around the outside or the edge of the table. That's another, you know, whole world is to do the environment. But we're just making the still life on a white background. A vignette. It's called a vignette. There we go. Okay. Now, that shadow looks way too dark. This is way too light red compared to my book right here. So I'm going to add some of the darks into this area right here. And I don't think I'm going to use black. I might use some black, but not too much. I think I'm going to do that blue again. Let's think. Maybe something different. Brown. So I'm going to add remember, lightest, medium, darkest. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to put some of this on the side. This is kind of a maroon color on the book. So I'm many layers. I'm getting rid of also the type on the side. Me personally, if you want to have the type on the side, you'd have to draw it very, very light so you could see through it. Or when you're all finished, you could get an ink pen and write on top. That's called mixed media. That's the way, if you want to detail write what the title is, you can come back in with ink on top. See? Okay. My book, this maroon is, it's a deep, deep, almost black maroon. So I'm gonna indicate that. I'm using brown. There's no, you could use green, really. It just makes it very interesting to look at. Now mine has a real crayon feeling, which I like, but if you don't like that, just blend it with a tissue or a punk. See, it smooths out completely. You can spend a lot of hours. You know, you can get whatever finish you want, you can work at. I think I'm going to add a little bit more. I think I'm going to add some dark blue over here because this is a little bit too red for me. I want it to be more of a maroon. So I'm experimenting. I picked one of my dark colors. I did brown. Now I'm going to do blue. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen, but I'm experimenting. Ooh, that's working good for me. Very good. And remember, further away from the light, it's going to get darker down here. Further away from the light, it's darker at the bottom than at the top. See what's happening here? I'm going to add a little bit. I'm going to leave this hot highlight up here because if I'm looking at my book, it has a hot highlight at the top of it. See? See how it's almost white at the top. Very hot. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave this part almost white, but I'm going to give it a little bit more color down here. Now, another secret to keep your still life holding together so it doesn't look like a puzzle. For instance, my gold pages right here, they don't really marry themselves too well to the book. They kind of look like they're pasted on. So one tip when you use any colors, but especially pastels, is you kind of want to bring whatever color you're using around everywhere. So I didn't put any red in here, so this part looks a little alien to this. So what I want to do is I want to bring a little bit of this color into these pages. So in the shadow, I'm going to put a little bit of red down here. It's called marrying the pieces. Now it's really looking three-dimensional. And it's really looking, I can tell what it is. It's a book. And we can, again, I can use this for an hour and smooth it out so it's very photorealistic. I personally like it kind of rough like that.